Peg. So I know you're having some trouble getting these answers, and when I was looking over your t-values, they actually look really good for this problem. So a lot of times when you're going ahead and you're getting a t-value, especially if your n is so large, you are basically getting a t-value that isn't as accurate as it could be if you were using technology. So this program usually has a little bit of wiggle room, so that if you are computing it by hand versus computing it with your StatCrunch, that it'll still give it to you correctly. So when I looked at that 1.987, that was correct. Now, just to show you how you could get your t-value on StatCrunch, if you go to Question Help and you click on StatCrunch, and you can see I was doing this here earlier, the way that you get to that little calculator is you go to Stat, Calculators, and then T. So I am using the t-distribution, and we are constructing a confidence interval, so we want that 95% in between. So you're going to click between here, and we're going to create, again, your degrees of freedom would actually be one less than your sample size. So our sample size is 89 here, so I'll make my degrees of freedom 88. And you'll be able to get it exact. And then I'm going to put the area that I want under the curve, and this is 95%, so 0.95, and click Compute. And as you can see, it's giving me negative 1.9873 and positive 1.9873. So rounding it off to 1.987 is perfect. Now, if you are going to go ahead and do this problem by hand, it may be the way that you're plugging it in your calculator that's getting you the incorrect answers. So let me just show you that really quickly. I'm just going to switch to my DocCam. So if we look here, and I hope that this is turned correctly. Sometimes I need to rotate it, which I believe I do. Go right ahead, yep. So what we're going to do here is you always take your mean. So we have our mean value, which was, what, 5.5, I believe. And then the way you construct your confidence interval is we're going to do plus or minus the t-score. And in this case, the t-score was 1.987. And we're going to multiply that by the standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. So we'll multiply that. Our standard deviation was, what, 14.2, and our square root would be the square root of 89 because my sample size was 89. Now when you go to plug this in your calculator, you want to do the entire thing at once. Rounding off any of these values can actually really throw off your calculation. So if I want to go ahead, I'm just going to use my simple Casio here. It's a nice little calculator. I would take the 5.5, and the first thing I would do to get the lower bound is subtract 1.987 times 14.2 divided by my square root of 89. And I'm getting 2.509. So let me just see what they were getting here. I forget what the value they got was. And that's about what they were getting. So that would work. And then if you go back to your calculator, I don't know if you have a nice little Casio or whatnot, but I can go back and I can change this value to plus and not have to type the whole thing in again. And you get your 8.49. Okay, so I hope that helps. If you wanted to do that by hand, that's how you would do that. Now I wanted to show you that you can also do the entire problem using StatCrunch. So if I go back into StatCrunch, if I click on Stat and I go to T-Stats, because that's what we're using here, and I have one sample, I don't have the data. I don't have every single data value listed. So I have the summary, the mean and the standard deviation. You can put your sample mean here. So our sample mean was 5.5. Our standard deviation was 1.987, and our sample size was 89. And you want to go ahead and do a confidence interval at 95% confidence and click Compute. And it will also get you your values. And I believe, again, are they getting us the correct values here? Let me see. What did I put in incorrectly? I must have put something in incorrectly. So let me see here. Edit. Oh, I did put something incorrectly. Our standard deviation was not that. It was 14.2. So notice I just clicked edit and I can go back and fix it. Compute, and there are my correct answers. So that gets you your correct answers right away. So let me know if that helps. I couldn't see which number 11 you were doing. I can't see your particular value, so I couldn't check that t-value. But if you want to send me and ask your instructor on that, I can go through this again for you for that. Good luck.